Welcome back to our weekly AI news deep dive. And we're starting today with a number that honestly broke my brain a little bit. Alphabet just issued a 100-year sterling bond.
Yeah, which is, it's just a fascinating contradiction when you really look at it. We are talking at an industry that reinvents itself every 6 months, yet
Right.
yet Alphabet is asking investors to bet on their solvency until the year 2126.
It feels like a total paradox. Tech is all about speed and disruption, but this financial move implies Google expects to basically be a sovereign state for the next century. And I assume this isn't just to, keep the lights on.
No, it's to keep the new lights on. This is financing the massive AI capex surge. We're talking chips, data centers, the heavy industrial infrastructure you need to keep these models running.
Yeah.
We are really seeing a shift from the hype phase to the hardening phase.
And while the giants are locking in century-long debt to build that infrastructure, the mood for the smaller players seems a lot darker. A Google VP issued a pretty stark warning to the startup ecosystem this week.
Right. The warning was specifically aimed at wrappers and aggregators. The market is just losing patience with them.
But isn't everyone essentially using the big foundation models under the hood? Like, if I build a travel app using Gemini, am I just a wrapper?
Well, if your only value is a slightly nicer user interface over someone else's brain, then yes. And that business model is evaporating fast because the giants are just bundling those features directly into their own products.
So they just crush.
Exactly, they crush you. To survive this hardening phase, you need a moat, proprietary data or deep domain expertise that Google cannot just replicate with a quick software update.
So the easy money in the West is drying up. But looking at the numbers from this week, that capital isn't disappearing, it's just moving. There's this massive gravitational shift toward India.
The numbers are staggering. Peak XV raised $1.3 billion to double down on AI, and General Catalyst committed $5 billion over 5 years. But the really interesting part is they aren't betting on India building the next GPT-5 to compete on raw intelligence.
They're betting on deployment.
Deployment at scale, yes. India has something the U.S. actually lacks, which is digital public infrastructure, or DPI.
Which is that unified stack for identity and payments, right?
Exactly. Things like UPI and Aadhaar. It allows for frictionless, paperless mass adoption.
So while U.S. startups are fighting over enterprise clients, Indian startups can plug into 1 billion users instantly.
And we're seeing that in action with Sarvam. They just launched Indus, which is a voice-first, multilingual chat app beta. They are racing to own the app layer before the global giants figure out the local linguistic context.
Which is that critical relationship with the user that is billion-dollar scale. But my absolute favorite story from this week sits at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It costs $0. It's just a guy in Bengaluru and his ceiling fan.
The AI roommate. This is arguably the purest form of innovation we saw all week.
He kept waking up too hot or too cold. So instead of buying some expensive smart home hub, he rigged a Raspberry Pi to watch him sleep.
Yeah, using MediaPape, which is Google's open source framework that tracks body joints using a cheap camera. The system analyzes his posture. If he's curled up, it infers he's cold and slows the fan.
And if his limbs are sprawled out, it speeds it up. No cloud subscription, no 100-year bond, just solving a problem.
But that same logic of moving from chatting to actually doing is happening at the enterprise level, too. Anthropic and Infosys just partnered to build regulated AI agents.
Right, moving from chatbots to complex tasks.
Executing complex telecom tasks, yeah. AI is moving into the background to do work rather than just being a chatbot you talk to.
However, not everyone wants AI doing the work. We have to talk about Games Workshop. The creators of Warhammer drew a massive line in the sand this week, saying absolutely no AI.
Backed by Jervis Johnson, too, the creator of Blood Bowl. This is a crucial countersignal right now.
Usually companies want to cut costs, though. Why would they ban a tool that makes content creation cheaper?
Because they are arguing that human taste is a premium product. If you use AI, the struggle of creation is removed. And if the output is effortless, economic theory suggests its value eventually drops to zero. Games Workshop is betting their brand integrity relies on the fact that human beings actually suffered, or at least worked hard, to create those miniatures and stories.
It's a bet on scarcity in a world of abundance.
If everything is automated, everything looks the same. Imperfection and human intent become the luxury good.
Wow. So let's look at the board for you guys listening. We have Alphabet, assuming it will exist in 2126, India becoming the laboratory for mass deployment, engineers building sleep tracking fans, and creatives fighting to keep the human in the loop.
The industry is really maturing. The toys are becoming infrastructure.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with as we wrap up this deep dive. As the easy AI startups die off and the giants turn into utilities, are we finally seeing that the only true moat left is the one thing we can't automate, which is human taste?
And in 10 years, I wonder what the price tag on that taste will be.
Something to chew on. Thanks for diving in with us today. We will catch you next time.